Welcome back. We are continuing our series of going through questions from the Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Agile Leadership courses. And today's question comes from Miss Hilda Stewart from Llandudno. Am I pronouncing that right? Llandudno, Wales. A stone's throw from Snowdonia National Park and the famous, or infamous, Conwy Castle? Good to know. Thank you, Miss Hilda Stewart. I'm sure you're proud of, I won't even try to say it, your city in Wales. And your question is, what's a good rule of thumb for meeting cadence between the certified Scrum Master and the product owner to groom the product backlog? Now, this is a great question because I think it depends on a few things. In the class, we try to draw something up. So the general guidance is you should have stories well groomed at least 1 to 2 sprints out. So let's walk that back a little bit. When we say well groomed, my main goal is you go into sprint planning meeting and it's kind of like lock and load, baby. That's more of a US saying, lock and load. That you're really ready to go. There's no surprises. The team knows what to do. Hey, these things, yes, we've seen it before. No real changes or adjustments. Sounds good. Put them in the sprint plan and let's go. And they feel good about it. I just don't want any surprises for the team in the sprint planning meeting. So preferably 1 to 2 sprints out, they're ready for sprint planning. And in case anything comes up or changes, you've got ready stories ready to go. So what does it look like to get 1 to 2 sprints out? I don't know. Depends on what your team's working on. So if it's the same stuff that they've been working on for 27 years and the same technology, they're still using punch cards, no real surprises. They know this stuff. They can knock those out fairly easy, and probably 1 meeting a sprint is enough. Let's just say it's a brand new project, a greenfield project, new technology or new team, and they haven't worked on this stuff before. It's probably going to take them longer because in the end, those product backlog refinement meetings, they're trying to get shared understanding and agreement between what it is that you're asking as a product owner and how are they as a team going to actually tackle this work, and are there any options or trade-offs. So they have to really dig in if there's a lot of unknowns on the what and the how, and less time is spent. If it's stuff that they already know and they've been working together a long time on it and they know the business domain and all that stuff. So typically we see in a product backlog refinement meeting using planning poker, which is the most common. It's not a requirement. It's just the most popular standard practice out there. We might get through single digits within a meeting. So, between 1 to 9 in an hour-long meeting. So if your team's knocking out, 20 items per sprint, you're going to need more than just 1 meeting per sprint. I've had it as frequently as every other day when it was brand new stuff. So use that as your guideline. The other option is you take a different approach, like the bucket sizing or team estimation sizing, also called white elephant, where we're just placing items down. And, I think this one's harder than this one. This one's easier than that one. They just stack them. And then they assign the poker card numbers, the Fibonacci sequence on top of that. And then that approach, you can get through dozens of items in a sprint. The trade-off is less conversation, but if it's known stuff, that might be an option to quickly go through a whole lot. So if you get 1 to 2 sprints out, that's your core. I think it's really great. Consider, though, raising the bar and going even further. Now, this is my stance. Not everyone would agree, but I do think this, I've seen value in this, is can we move it to where it's not just 1 to 2 sprints out, but 3 to 4, to eventually 5 or 6. Now, the reason I'm stressing that is because now that lets you do release planning. And if we can do release planning, now at the bigger picture, stakeholders see what's going on and where are we at, and is that date still realistic? I love Scrum. It's great at focus and what are we doing this sprint, what are we doing today, and that's awesome. It tends to miss out on longer term concerns, and those longer term concerns aren't just the stakeholders awareness of where we're at and no surprises and, hey, we've got time to make trade-offs or communicate to the customer or look for other options, all that stuff. We essentially remove all that runway if we're only looking 1 to 2 sprints out. There's just no time to make adjustments. We get reactionary. It doesn't go awesome. So I'd like to push it further out, partly for stakeholder management, partly to be able to collaborate with the team better in terms of dependencies or certainly multi-team. And that's where I think we have this trade-off is we really do want to try to avoid dependencies. We want to have a better relationship with the business that they know where we're at. But I'm just saying, most companies, teams starting out, I think pushing further out to give teams time to learn how to coordinate and all that is a good thing. So let's consider you do that. You up your product backlog refinement meetings, or you take a different approach to get you through more stuff. Now you're 5 to 6 sprints out. Now you can actually schedule a release planning meeting In that meeting, the team slots out the stories into those sprints, double checks all those dependencies, if any, and then boom, Bob's your uncle. You've got a release plan that you can now check against and communicate to stakeholders, right? So there's your communication plan. Here's how we're trending now. And that puts the responsibility a little bit on them to either, do you want to adjust scope? Do you want to talk to the customer? Do you want to give us more time? Like, so now we've got some options in play. Like they've got several sprints, that is 1 or 2 months, to say, what do we need to do to adjust? And no surprises for coordination with your UX folks, no time, problems with coordinating with your architecture folks if that's not handled within the team, which I would rather it be handled within the team. But any other groups, you kind of have this shared need across. It's going to help you with that, because yes, it's a fully dedicated team, but there's some people you just don't keep fully busy for 40 hours a week, and you wouldn't necessarily want to teach your Photoshop person to do development. That's just a completely different skill set. So consider those people on the outside, what that would look like. I hope that is of some help, Ms. Hilda Stewart, and feel free to comment below if it doesn't answer the question, or if there's related questions, or if anyone else has seen other trade-offs or options on there that you'd love to share as well. With Ms. Stewart, and we look forward to having you come back and check out our series on continuing questions and add your own as well, and we'd be glad to pick those up. Good luck to you and your team on your journey.